Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 7 of What If Naruto had the red Rinnegan and was neglected. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto unlock a strange power and enjoy that guys. And also stay tuned for What If Naruto was given a second chance on this channel for you guys to enjoy. And I'm also going to be posting a brand new episode of What If Naruto got his memory sealed away. So stay tuned for that as well guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, this will begin this new episode. Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, as Obito and the rest of the Akatsuki members surrounded Naruto and Naruko, as Naruko went off to face off against Obito, the both of them started to clash with her enhanced body and with him completely underestimating her. He started to beat the living crap out of him, while Naruto took on the other Akatsuki members. None of them stood a chance, as Itachi and Kakazu stayed behind, as Naruto was just beating the crap out of Hidan, Deidara, and Kisame. They tried to attack him, but Naruto's eyes were seeing much faster than he could even move or predict, as he killed Deidara, piercing him, and also killed Kisame, as he also blew away Hidan. Hidan could believe when Naruto simply made the sight hit his neck, as Naruto's obsidian armor snapped the sight, surprising Hidan. Naruto didn't hear that shout, but his body was already in action, as the entire world just froze around him, as he saw Obito coming for his eye. Naruto got furious. This man was trying to take his eye, as Naruto grabbed him by the throat and mashed him straight down to the ground, and slowly ripped off his mask before seeing his face, as Naruto ripped up both of his eyes and called for the ship to come pick him up, as they would interrogate him and get everything out of him before he dies. As Naruto went over, as Naruko sat down, she felt, well, ashamed. She felt like she wasn't worthy to be her brother queen. She felt like she wasn't worthy to stand beside him, even though he said that the both of them did this together. He was the one that did it, and she didn't want to be holding him back or anything. As Naruto faced off against them, she looked how strong he was, while she took a while, and even she would have lost if it wasn't for her enhanced abilities. But Naruto, he was just different. Despite everything, he was just beyond, leaps beyond in power than her, as he completely decimated Kakazu. He then ripped out Itachi's eyes as he was hateful towards Itachi. Itachi could have done something about then, as he called for the team for them to take his eyes and take him away as well, and after that is death. As Naruto asked Naruko what was wrong, as she made up her mind she wanted to join the academy. She wanted to take the test that Naruto gave to his other soldiers and go up in rank. After a while, Naruto conceded, as with that the both of them headed off after saying their goodbyes to Pain, Konan, and Sasori. At Konoha, as Junior was told by Minato about Naruto, his brother, he was surprised as hell, as Minato had the idea that Naruto would be coming after Junior, so he wanted to keep an eye on him to just make sure. Some time passed as the test was being administered to Naruko. Jiraiya, they went to Kuma as they tried to find out and get help, but the new Raikage Darui was against it. He wouldn't do anything beyond the Sakai Kingdom wards because he didn't want Kumo to get wiped off the map. But Jiraiya and the other 80 soldiers behind him found the location of the Sky Kingdom right beside the border of Kumo, as they started to attack it, but the village defenses were there. As Naruto wanted to send one of his top lieutenants after the Sannin to see how he would match up against the Sannin, and he figured that he would go and watch, and after that they should send Jiraiya's head back to Konoha to give to Minato. So yeah guys, it was basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check out for yourself. So, what is to begin this new episode? On the shores of Kumo, right beside the border of the Lightning Country, Satoshi Todoroki was a special man, even by the mutant standards in the kingdom. Him and Hamato Toshi were picked up when they were toddlers by Orochimaru from a village in Lightning Country. They were born in the same household to different parents, but they saw themselves as brothers, as they shared the same cell in the Hidden Zone, though their tortures and their tests and experiments were different. While Hamato was the one that Orochimaru tortured for all 35 years they had been in Zone, Satoshi got the bad luck of the one that Orochimaru experimented on, as he stayed true to Satoshi's country by focusing on lightning-based tests and experiments. Watching electricity course through the human body and affecting the mind is possessive lightning DNA. The one that was come out of every person that was born in the Lightning Country came forward and got the dominant role in him. The consequences made the man a living bolt of lightning. He could even suck out the electricity of appliances. He was still human, but he had more energy than humans. A lot more energy. It would have been dangerous, but he had learned how to meditate from Naruto to control it, as Naruto gave him the job of becoming the head of rescue and support. And he was also a chief of police, because it was just for his control, because he had to keep himself calm most of the time, so he wouldn't lose control. It helped that Naruto had Orochimaru memories. It made him knew best what to do for every people, every mutant that was living in his kingdom. Jiraiya and his soldiers paused when he saw 20 people rise out of the water and stood on it. They had on gold armor. He heard something behind him as he turned, as they saw 30 more standing behind him in gold armor as well. 50 armed soldiers surrounded the Konoha ninjas. As the sky darkened a little, and a black cloud swirled around the white cloud that they were shooting at, as they knew that it was the Sakai Kingdom, placed in a cloud like it was just a random cloud in the sky, a very large one. There was a deep earth rumbling shaking, as all the Sakai Kingdom soldiers placed their hands on their heart, keeping their eyes on the Konoha ninjas. The sky increasingly darkened. Bright light flashed above them as the Konoha ninjas moved back, as a lightning bolt smashed into the ground, throwing around dust and sand everywhere. The dust and sand all blew away, leaving a blonde-haired man standing there, as his hair looked like he was electrocuted. He also had a silver bow staff gripping his hand, as he placed it over his shoulder, and he had on a platinum armor. As Jiraiya was able to catch the difference between him and the others, platinum was leagues more expensive and rare than gold, so it was safe to assume that this man over there was above these others. And he had on a handband for rescue and support on it. He was a leader of the defensive force. Jiraiya hopped off his toad as he walked up to the man. The man smiled as a small crackle of electricity just fizzled around him a bit, as Jiraiya stopped a couple feet away from him, and the both of them looked at each other without fear. Jiraiya didn't know why Minato wanted them to find and attack the Sakai Kingdom with their small forces, but he could guess. Kushina had been kidnapped, and Minato just wanted to poke the bear to get it to react somehow, to try gain interest into the kingdom and killing the king in the process. The plan was so simply was naive. Jiraiya just wished that it wasn't Minato's plan, but he was bound by his oath as a Konoha ninjas to listen to the leader, and Minato was the Hokage after all. "I take it you're the one Naruto sent to deal with me," Jiraiya said. "Wasn't that obvious? Is Naruto that scared that he has to send his thugs to deal with me?" As the man's smile instantly disappeared, as his eyes became dark. His hand gripped the staff on his shoulder. Despite this, he looked calm same way. You dare insult my king." Jiraiya cracked a grin as he laughed loudly. "I will take it that I'm right. That brat, the king of the Sakai Kingdom he ear-quoted, is scared of me. What, is he scared of death? But he should be scared because I am Jiraiya, Jiraiya of the Sannin, author of the unrivaled Ichi Ichi book series, and the strongest Sannin to ever live. My name make all men quake in terror, all women wet with desire, and all children pray my name to the heavens." The man spoke in a low voice. "My name is Satoshi Todoroki. I am the head of rescue and support of the great Sakai Kingdom hidden in the sky." As he tilted his head to the side, as a smile came on his face, and I will be your opponent. Jiraiya jumped to his man, brought on his staff, and hit the sand where Jiraiya was. The entire thing was electrocuted, turning into glass. Jiraiya quickly flipped through hands and as two toads appeared on his shoulder. He was already prepared, as his body started to change, taking on toad-like features as he entered Sage mode. He could tell that this guy was nothing to play around with. As the other Konoha ninjas and the Sakai Kingdom, they all started to attack each other. Meanwhile, Hamato, I have a question, said Naruto, as he hovered over the battle zone with his maid and the head of intelligence and the head of inventions. All of them stood on an invisible platform created by the Rinnegan King, or in Nirvana's case, she sat on the edge and swung her legs playfully, watching through a pair of binoculars. Sir, said Hamato, are my forces ready to move out at a moment's notice? As he watched as Satoshi exchanged fists with Jiraiya, who was patting his hand after every electric strike. Since the festival began, sir, it is part of our training to obey your orders and be ready at any time that you may need us, sir. Though I intended this festival to celebrate the soldiers, I wanted the civilians to relax and know that the soldiers are more than capable of handling the world, said Naruto with his hands in his pockets, as his eyes were in rage. Looking at the Konoha ninja, they just threw his mercy back in his face. He gave them 6 days. They had 6 more days before he showed up. But that man, the Hokage deer, sent his forces here. Is the video ready? The man knew exactly what Naruto was talking about as he nodded. Is it cleaned up and properly edited? Yes, sir, the man said. Good. I want 5 cinema blimps uploaded and sent to Konoha. Satoshi will have 10 protection support vehicles surrounding them on the way there and their way back in case any overzealous leave ninja to attack them while the video is playing. I also want your computer technicians to take care of all airwaves of Fire Country, specifically Konoha, and broadcasts on every live television or every host, every establishment that has a television. The man looked hesitant. Is there something wrong, Naruto said. My king, Naruto looked down with a smile as he watched Jiraiya flipped away as Satoshi had gripped him and electrocuted him as he ripped off his shirt. Thin black smoke was coming from his body and the toads on his shoulders as he had his hand over his heart, panting heavily. Satoshi did not allow him any rest. He twirled his staff in his hand and fired off several bolts of lightning towards him, and he struck away the ninjas that were trying to ambush him as Jiraiya had to jump away from the blazing bolts. Are you certain that you wish for people to see that video? Asked Hamato. My ninjas, the one who helped and clean and edit the video, they were appalled, and few of them couldn't bear to watch a video. What happened to you and Lady Naruko is wrong, and it's traumatizing. Do you really wish people to see those images? As he placed his hand over his heart and bowed his head deeply. I apologize for being so forward, and I'm not going against you, my lord. Are you sure you want those videos to be seen? As Nirvana and the maid looked over, Naruto Rinnegan eyes saddened, but he looked over. I want the people of Konoha to know who their Hokage is. As Naruto watched as his soldiers were going around, making sure that the Konoha ninjas were dead, while Satoshi made his way over as he kicked away the smoking body of Paw and knocked away the other Toad Ma who was trying to attack him. Jiraiya was crawling away on the ground as Satoshi grind his heel right into Jiraiya's back and smiled as an agonizing pain scream ripped out from Jiraiya's lungs. Jiraiya always thought that he would die doing what he loved, peeping on women in the hot spring, but this was the reality of it. Even now, he could not blame his student for putting him in this position, facing a kingdom that was stronger than them and loyal to someone who was most likely a god. He was scared. There was so much he didn't got to do, and now he would never do it, all because he didn't befriend a little boy and girl, 2 children, who simply wanted and needed a friend. Just one friend to keep them safe and protect them. His body shook as electricity tightened his muscles, preventing him from moving. It was like the god of death had gripped his heart. He would have felt better if it was a betrayed child that came to end his life, but it wasn't Naruto that was killing him. It was one of Naruto's higher rank soldiers. The boy didn't even deem him worthy enough to dirty his hands against him. As Satoshi twirled his staff, Jiraiya looked up. His life was about to end as Satoshi drove it right into the back of his neck, silence him forever. Satoshi bowed down to his king as his entire body cooled down from the lightning. Hamato, go and preparations and inform Satoshi. Yes sir, the man said as he leaped off. Naruto signed for Satoshi to follow him as Satoshi grabbed Jiraiya's body and flashed away. As Naruto was going to still continue and leave Konoha for last, but they have pushed his hands for him to step up thing right now. As was it the pride of Minato to think that he cannot ever beat him in a battle? Did Minato really think that he's still stronger? That he's still gonna come out on top? Well, it doesn't matter. Konoha will be the last, because that place had a special place in his heart. A dark, damp, hateful, despite place in his heart. He was going to save her, entering the leaf, but he had to inform his sister first. Time skip, 2 hours later, at Konoha, Junior bent down as he placed his finger on top of the Hokage's monument as he saw footsteps, but they didn't vanish. He figured it was a flying vehicle that Kakashi told him about from the Sakai Kingdom. As Sai was standing there behind him, Sakura spoke. Why are we here, she asked. My brother was here, he said, as he added more chakra to show the chakra footprints. He was with someone of the same signature but with different chakra components. Does that make sense, he said. Sakura shrugged as he sighed, as he looked around. He was with other people, at least 5 other people I'm guessing. But I can only sense his chakra and the other person's chakra. It's like he left it here on purpose. He lifted his hand onto the ground and the light started dim around them till it vanished. Do you think he wanted me to see this? He asked Sakura. Do you think my big brother wanted me to know that he was here? She looked at him with a sad smile. I'm sorry, Junior, but I don't know for sure. Her heart sunk when she saw his downcast look. Let's go, she said. We're not supposed to be here. He nodded. Sai, what do you think? I think your father is watching us, Sai said, as they looked over to see a small dot on the Kage's tower, but that wasn't what they saw alone. There were 5 gigantic flying machines in the sky that was red and gold, and it had a screen under all of them that blocked the sun from interfering with the lighting, as it had a mini section to block the sun away, so you could see the screen, but the screen was blank right now. And it also had the flag and the kanji for Sakai Kingdom painted in gold on it. As the 5 things then flew around the village in a circle, so that everyone could see the screams. As they were being guarded, Minato was about to yell for the alarms to be activated, but all the radio stations, Ibiki told him, had been forcefully shut down. Everything was offline. As they then saw the screams lit up, they saw Orochimaru. Minato eyes widened to what he saw. Hello, Orochimaru says. He tapped the screen. Kimemaru, is this thing recording? Yes, Lord Orochimaru. Perfect, said Orochimaru. As he then moved back, everyone in Konoha who did not have a television came outside and looked at the blimps. As everyone gasped when Orochimaru threw his arm right over Minato's shoulder. The Minato on the screen looked much less older and not really stressed out like he looked now. The simple fact that he allowed the rogue Orochimaru to touch him, that was strange. He was a missing link, as this must be the Orochimaru that had defected, given that there was a leaf headband sitting behind them. Orochimaru, this isn't necessary. Now hush, Minato. This is necessary, of course, said Orochimaru, as he then turned his hand as the camera turned towards 2 red-headed children, the twin. Orochimaru giggled. This is history in the making. As all of Fire Country watched, this was going on their television. Thousands of Sakai Kingdom went down into all the countries, starting from mountain, and they went straight down as the global domination started to begin. Back at Konoha, bring these things down, Minato yelled, as he threw a 3-pronged kunai, but the 3-pronged kunai was knocked away by a senbon from one of the vehicles. A gold ranking soldier had a metallic senbon launcher on his arm. Another senbon clicked into place as he pointed down to any other ninja who was ready to attack. But no one attacked. All of them were watching. They were curious why Minato was with the snake. If Minato was there, he was either there to retrieve him or kill him, right? Then why was he talking to him so nicely? Well, just what in the world was going on? So the people curiosity take over as they decide to watch instead of doing anything, as they want to know if he was friends with the snake. What else was he hiding? Tell the camera hello, kids, said Orochimaru, Both kids said nothing, as Minato grabbed Naruto by the back of the neck and squeezed. Do as you're told, you pitiful rodent. As everyone gasped, seeing how Minato cursed like that. As everyone gasped when Minato threw Naruto right into Naruko, making both of them tumble over. As Naruto started to cry, the people of Konoha was even worse shocked. I wanted to make them suffer, said Minato to Orochimaru. Tear them limb from limb, as long as you break them completely, to make them worthy of serving Konoha. I don't care. Why do you want them for Konoha so badly? Asked Orochimaru. When I finish use them in Konoha, I can sell them off, whether as a whole or a piece, or by pieces. The organ trading is very lucrative, said Orochimaru. Minato, who was on the roof, quickly disappeared in a flash as he appeared right in his office. Break their minds, destroy their bodies, Minato said in the video. I don't care what you do. I want them to suffer the pain they caused me. I hope you know what I mean, Orochimaru, he said. Oh, believe me, said Orochimaru as he watched Naruko crawl over to her brother as she held on to him. I knew exactly what to do to them, said Orochimaru. The video then cracked as it then showed Naruto, but this time much older, with his godly Rinnegan. The king looked on at all of them with his emotionless eyes as he stared at the screen. Then a small smirk went off on his face, and then everything simply vanished. As all of the television, all of the blimps, all of them were shut off. Meanwhile, Minato was on his knees in his office as he saw Jiraiya head on his decks. Back at the Sakai Kingdom, Naruto was sitting on his throne as all of his division heads marched in. His sister was beside his throne as all of them went on their knees. The time has come, said Naruto, as the division heads nodded. Everything that we have been working, training for, it has finally arrived. As he faced Indra, are my soldiers ready? Yes, my lord, all of your soldiers are prime and ready to fight for you. The medical division, he said. Fully equipped and properly trained in medical arts, said Karin. My scouts, hunters, inventors. Ready, my king, said Nora, and Mora, and Nirvana. Then we shall begin, said Naruto as he got up to his feet. Naruko then bowed to him. He tried to ignore it as he looked over his shoulder with a frown. The plan is to start in Kumo and Chill, the southern border of the continent, and then march on to the rest of the continent. He snapped his fingers as Hamato came up and pulled out a map and placed it right on the table. As Naruto swiped a pointer over Kumo and the other continents, as he moved it down straight to the middle where Konoha was. We will work our way around in one clean sweep. I want Konoha to see the other nations and the other village crumble around them. No allies, no other village to run to, no hope in sight. The countries who had already been conquered and already signed the scroll were not going to be in destruction, but they were still going to see Naruto's military might as he marched right through their borders, passing them, so they could see that they made the right choice by signing with him. The rest of the continent that didn't sign, more than half of it, that was going to be another story completely. The division heads nodded in understanding as they shouted, my sister and I have selected the countries that may or may not be too much of a hassle of taking over. This is not to say that they cannot be easily brought down to their knees. I am just saying, if the shinobis are too much of a trouble to deal with, I give you the permission to destroy them. All of them? Nirvana said, with a wicked smile. All of them. Just leave some for me, said Naruto. Now, march out. Yes, sir. Naruto waited for Indra to stay back as the frontline head stood in place. Are my sister, exams ready? Naruko couldn't help but perk up. I was about to inform you after the meeting, sir. As he unsealed a file from his wrist, he marched to his king and bowed with it in front of him. As Naruko asked for permission to come forward, Naruto sighed. She was acting this way because she wanted to be a true soldier of Sakai Kingdom, and she wanted him to treat her like everyone else. But she was his sister, for goddammit. But if this is what she want, he wouldn't deny her that. As she took the file, as she took a deep breath in and out, she felt a gentle hand on her shoulder. As she was flooded with confidence, so she opened the file. As Naruto peeped over her shoulder, Congratulations, sis, he said, as she skimmed through everything, as she went to the bottom where a rank was written in gold, markings, silver rank. As he saw the questioning look that she was wearing as he explained, a silver rank has no equivalent to grounder ranks. Copper is special jonin and bronze is jonin, but the closest we can say to compare to a ground ninja is about mid Kage. Gold was high Kage and platinum is Sanin. Obsidian, well, no one could match that down there. After all, he was the only one that wore obsidian. as she bit her bottom lip in happiness. See? I told you that you were strong. When do I start, bro? She asks. When do you want to start? He asks. Right now, she said. As Naruto looked towards Inja, you will need to be taught standard Sakai soldiers procedures. For every possible situation, you will need to be placed in a division and a squad, shown standard squad in a group, and show the proper way to adjust a high-ranking soldier. Your armor will be given to you when your division has been determined. Determine it now, said Naruto. She's a very skilled tracker, one of the best I've ever seen in a human being, even by Sakai standards. Her endurance is incredible. Her stealth skill can improve by time, but she had shown good retentive memory. So I doubt that she would not be able to remember what she has been taught. She is in good physical form and her taijutsu is remarkably high, but any other jutsu is low. She will fit well in 3 different departments: taijutsu specialist in the front line, retrieval, in scout and retrieval, and hunter ninja in the hunter ninja division. As he looked towards her, it is not against protocol to ask which of the division that you want to join in name 3, as she looked like she was thinking about it. I will give you some time to decide. As Naruto nodded to him as he left the palace. Bro, said Naruko, you really want to be a soldier, huh? As she nodded. Naruto sighed. Why do you have to be so stubborn, sis? I was born that way, she said. Fine, he said. What about killing father? We were supposed to do that together. You said that we will circle around the continent before ending up in Konoha. I can always catch up to you before we enter the village. Fine then, what division are you going to choose? Oh, that's easy, she said. I want to be a hunter. Naruto simply rolled his eyes. Time skip. At the Sakai Kingdom General Hospital. For 16 years, she has been holding on to that memory of her children, but they were slowly slipping away from her. She could only see a canvas in front of her with lots of colors, and it was slowly being stripped away. But every time she would sing that song, she would still remember her children. But now, she didn't know what happened, but she could see a white ceiling. Kushina stir. As she licked her lips, her throat was very dry. A straw came up to her lips. As she sucked on the straw, as cool water went down her throat, she took a few more sips as she released the straw, lying back down into the comfortable bed. She was too weak to even move or looked over, as she felt something touch her chest, before it was removed after a while. All the shackles have been fixed and removed, my lord. She's responding, good to the medicine. A light, squeaky voice said from beside her. You have done well, Magi. A slightly deep voice said. Kushina still had her sensory abilities. The soft voice had a lot of pride in it, like the person was grateful to the rougher voice that spoke. But no matter how hard she spoke, she couldn't feel her deeper voice. She couldn't feel his emotions or anything. You will lead the forces going through Kumo. I will go and station my division now, sir, Magi said as she rushed out of the room. Nice girl, a feminine voice said. Kushina could feel a bit of jealousy resonating from the new speaker's body. She's an effective kunoichi and I trust her most when it comes to Foin Jutsu. More than me? Come on, sis, you know what I mean. The Lord then spoke. How is she doing, Karen? She is still a bit weak, but given that she's a Uzumaki, she will recover. Kushina didn't hear anything else, making her assume that the Lord had smiled or nod to the person. But I regret to say that her chakra network would not properly function again. This is because her shackles and the Kyuubi were directly connected to her chakra system, and like every other tail beast, sealing better than any other tail beast. When the Kyuubi was ripped out, her chakra network was fractured beyond repair. Said Karen, I am sorry, my lord. I try my best to fix her. It's fine, it's fine. You have done well, Karen, for our mother. Mother? Kushina's eyes widened as she tried to move her stiff neck again. Naruto? Naruko? Her heart monitor was beeping madly. A gentle hand was placed on her forehead as she sighed, in relief as a soothing medical ninjutsu flow over her body. By grounder. Civilian standards, how strong is she? The other girl asked. Karen removed her hand. By shinobi, she's at least mid-genin. Her chakra may be all over the place, but she's still in good physical form, although it has gone down since Konoha chose to neglect her. Alright, thank you for everything, Karen. Anything for you, my lord, said Karen in a sweet voice, as she left the room. As Naruko narrowed her eyes, did you sleep with her? As Naruto said nothing. Well, asked Naruko. He didn't want to tell her that he had slept with the doctor on numerous occasions, so much that he could even count. Sis, we'll talk about it, but not now, he said. She said. She walked over to the other side of the bed and crossed her arms as she looked down to her mother. Jerk, she said. As Naruto sighed, the neck brace that was around Kushina's neck loosened a bit as she turned her head. Mother. Naruto? She sobbed and tried to reach out, but he placed his hand over hers and gently pushed it back down. You're still too weak, he said. You have questions, he said. I don't know, she said, as she looked over to the other side of the bed. Look at the other teenage girl. With a warm smile. She looked so much like her, it was like she was looking back at her past self. The girl placed her hand on Kushina's left hand. There's no need to rush. As Kushina felt a bit scared, looking into Naruto's eyes. So she looked over to Naruko, but she could still feel from the girl there was mistrust in her, like she would just kill her without a second thought. The twins, they didn't trust her. Tears started to leak from her eyes though, as a wave of emotion started to crash down on her. I'm sorry, she cried. I'm so sorry. Why are you sorry, mother? Said Naruto. I left you two to suffer in Konoha, she said, her body shaking with tears. You both shared the Kyuubi and I left you alone. She looked at Naruto. I'm so sorry, she said, as Naruko tilted her head. Do you love us, mother? Naruto asked. As a sharp flashback went through Naruto's mind when he asked Orochimaru that same question before he killed him. If she lied or make one wrong move to just show that she was the same like Minato, she would die. Yes, I love the both of you, she said. Naruto's eyes searched hers, as he then looked at her strangely. I believe you. Are you sure? She used to be a ninja. They are taught how to lie, said Naruko. Naruto did some hand sign towards Naruko. A secret twin message passed between the two of them. His eyes didn't need to summon the king of hell to see into someone's mind, but she should keep that between them. As a smile came on Naruko's face. What now, she asked. She's going to watch a video, said Naruto, as he clapped his hand as the maid came in. As him and Naruko start to walk out, she has to know as well. And now, for the global domination. Meanwhile, at the sand borders near a rocky terrain, two redheads were running through the desert, as the both of them separated as Teiwaya slitted on the earth as she came off the sand, as she flipped over and dragged out the bag, pulling out the weapon that was inside, as she looked right through the range before firing. Shinigami then rushed up the box as she flipped inside. A knife came out of her sleeve as she slit the ninja's throat that was inside, as chains exploded from her left hand, right under her sleeve, grabbing the kunoichi, who was trying to alarm the others, as it squeezed her before pulling her close, as she drove the blade right through the kunoichi's throat. Before pushing her off, she flicked her wrist as the chain and the blades went back in. Shinigami then tapped her ear. I have secured the Stone Country's southern sentry post. Well, no shit, said Teiwaya, as she then tapped her ear. Patch me over to Fu. Patching you over is a voice. After a few seconds, a voice spoke. This is Fu. As Fu was currently slipping into a Spring Country bar. Most of them narrowed their eyes at her, noticing that she was a samurai. Not to mention she had her katana, as she sat down and ordered sake. Have you heard the news? Lord Naruto has declared that the invasion is a start. I've heard, but I'm in Spring at the moment. I've asked Sasori to accompany me to the Line of Iron. He told me that you'll be here in a few minutes. Is that so? Would you mind if me and Korra dropped by and helped out? For once, she wasn't cursing because Fu was on the short list of people that Teiwaya respected. Last time we spoke, you said you and Shinigami were handling Stone Country. I know what I said, Teiwaya said, as she watched several people drop down from one of the vehicles landing around her, with their armor on. She signed over to him, telling him that the place was clear as he was dressed in his gold armor. He then started to pass out information and instructions to the others. More of them then came, at least 100, and then more than came, making it at least 200, as they all pushed forward but they didn't enter the country. They schemed the edges, picking off ninjas and people that linger around, while the computer technicians hacked right into the radio communications so they couldn't call for backup or anything. Teiwaya, what's going on over there? Asked Fu. Reinforcement has arrived. As she swung her gun back over her shoulder, as Shinigami then landed beside Teiwaya and waved over at Gore, as he was in charge of this platoon of hunters, as he waved back over at her, as he had his giant war hammer. Sometimes I wonder why hunters are so organized. They're trained to work separately, but look at them. Shinigami says she watched two white masked hunters take down a stone ninja. Ground hunters are trained to work separately. These are Sakai hunters, you fox. They are completely different, said Teiwaya. But it doesn't matter because spies are cooler than hunters. As Shinigura just rolled their eyes. Sure. We're gonna meet up with you in Iron Country, Fu. Teiwaya, out. Meanwhile, at the Hot Water Country, the wind was blowing a lot over here, as he was already giving the report that the place was quite windy. His maid was behind him, as she had a camera. What are you doing? Sabaku, said Naruto. I wish to document your move through this invasion, my lord Naruto. Your participation in such a monumental event must be recorded so future generation must watch and witness the glory of the greatest king to ever live. As he looked over at Nirvana, who nodded as she seemed to agree with the maid. Is that what you really want to do with the footage? Naruto asked. As the maid, Chase flushed red a bit, as he saw Nirvana also looking a bit giddy. As Naruto simply sighed, I don't want to see this on the Kingdom Network, he said. The maid nodded as she came a bit closer, but still giving him enough space. An entire village is dedicated to hot springs, Naruto said. There is an abundance of natural gas under the village, and the only way you think of using it is by using hot springs? What a waste. What will you do, my lord Naruto? Sabaku asked from behind her camera. First, Naruto looked at the 80 bronze ranked soldiers that were in the vehicle. Is everyone ready? All of them raised their fists in the air. Yes, sir. I can't hear you, said Naruto. As they shouted louder. Yes, sir. Well then, see you at the bottom, he said, as he flipped out of the flying vehicle. If the wind wasn't violent before, it became extremely violent as Naruto flipped out of the vehicle, as he spread his arms out wide, looking down. The people of Hot Water Country all looked up, as they saw one dot first, until they saw there was many more dots behind it coming down towards the ground. Their sky soon turned from calm blue to dangerous red and black. As Naruto's body exploded into golden orange fire, his whiskers thickened and 9 golden tails came out from his tailbone. The red in his Rinnegan eye became more brighter as he summoned his Kyuubi chakra. He wanted to try something. His body exploded out with fire that had spin in a deadly vortex around him coming down towards the country. As the ground was shaking already, as everyone got kunai, senmons and everything, but Naruto raised his hand as they were all sent flying away as the ground trembled and pushed out by a violent force. There was a terrified scream as a giant foot dropped down from the ground and smashed it. Another foot then smashed right into the palace, kicking it over, crushing the daimyo and his family inside. 9 massive tails then crashed down as the colossal manifested 9-tailed beast roared up to the sky. Naruto stood in his head as his eyes flashed as black obsidian armor came all around the beast's body. A black cloak came around his back that was red, flipping around and crushing through things. Just the cloak as the 9 tails were flattening the ground down. The beast opened his mouth and roared up to the sky. The ninjas all dropped at the border as they erupted a giant barrier so no one could leave, while the others dispatched to take care of those who already fled when they saw the red dot dropping from the sky. The soldiers watched as the tailed beast their king commanded was ripping everything to pieces. For a bronze rank to say that they have seen their king in battle and that they fought along beside him, the inferno that was burning in their hearts increased a lot. Inventors and a bronze rank was not that popular in the kingdom, but they would get more people seeing that their king has graced them with his presence in their inventor squad. The chakra that he got from Obito and Itachi, this was what he was using to form the cloak and the clothing around the Kyuubi chakra. It was a form of what they call their Susanoo, but he was manifesting it and bending to a certain extent, so the Kyuubi was wearing the exact same clothes as him, even pants. A flashing purple sword appeared in the beast's hand as it brought it down to a hot spring and incinerated everything, before the beast dropped on all fours as Naruto leaped out of his head. Naruto picked up a Tonto from the ground as he rushed towards the people. The ninjas saw him coming. There was just one, so they all turned towards him to kill him right here and now, but they were sadly mistaken if they think they could do anything, as a smile came on Naruto's face. He flashed into the first person, tearing him through the Tonto as he spun and smashed his foot into the second one, sending into 4 others, as he leaped backwards and stabbed the blade into the head of a Kunoichi and flipped back. As he grabbed her by the hair and tossed her right into her comrades, he twirled the blade in his hand as he looked around the ninjas that surrounded him, a wicked smile on his face. as his eyes slowly narrowed at them. Even the still manifested nine tails was still there. As Naruto's eyes flutter open, they could see it fully now is here, blowing out of his face. The world then came to a stop. As he leaped forward and slashed right through the first one, but the time was still moving slow. He drove his foot into the chest of Kunoichi. He then flipped back and stabbed his blade through another heart. He then jumped as he sliced right through one throat. As he threw the blade through three of their head, piercing through them. As he appeared behind the blade and caught it, he then spun around and sliced off another head. As he grabbed one of their forearm and sliced it open and threw him into a large crowd. As he flashed around through them, slicing and dicing. The world then started to move again as he stomped. Blood exploded everywhere as everyone's body fall, head sent rolling. He then touched his ear. Patch me over to Division Head Nirvana. Patching you over, sir. Nirvana here, my lord. Clean this place up and start to pump as soon as possible. Transport as many natural gas back to the kingdom until this place is dry and can't give any more. Understood, sir. I will start immediately, she said. As she headed off with the soldiers. Back with Naruto, he threw away the katana as he walked over the dead bodies around him. As he kicked away a corpse that was in front of him. As he walked forward, the soldiers that were left dropped to their knees. At ease, he said, as he got back to their feet. As he walked over to the border, where the bronze soldiers were, finishing off a few stragglers. They showed their respect by falling on their knees, but he waved his hand for them to rise. Are there any injured, he asked. None, sir. We're just taking down their hot springs and looting the money. As one lieutenant was leaded 5 members of a group. As one of them spoke to Naruto, Naruto gave the man a smile. Have fun, he said, as he walked towards the hot spring at the far entrance of the village. The roof was caved in, and the walls was black from fire. That reminded him as he turned around and looked at the Kyuubi. The thing then disappeared in a gust of flames, as he placed his arms in his pockets. As his eyes narrowed towards the door as it was opened up, he walked inside the door, closed behind him. As he walked over towards the receptionist's desk, as he looked over to see a headless body right there. I could have sworn, he said, the place was devoid of life. As he made his way towards one of the private springs, as he reached a locked door, before it was burst open, as he went inside it closed behind him. The place was not destroyed, it was rather clean and empty. There was no dead body or anything around here. He removed his right arm from his pocket and tapped his earbud. Patch me over to Naruko. At once, my lord. Yo, bro. I mean, my lord, Naruto. Naruto felt like she was saluting as he sighed. How is chill, he said, as she was all the way in a hidden chill. As she looked over the white, snow-covered village with a sad sigh. Boring as hell. Why did you let me come here? You're the one that want to be a soldier. New soldiers, despite their ranks, are given slow missions before they're given better missions. She groaned as he laughed. Try and have fun over there, sis. Well, I can't have any fun because everyone is so afraid of us over here. They don't want anything to do with us. Why can't we just kill everyone and go over to our next village, she said. Because I want to keep my word. Besides, after this is over and father is dead, there's still a global fighting nation that's going to happen. A tournament. The more we have fighting, the more entertainment it will be. How about this? Any loser nation will be exterminated, and you, dear sis, will oversee the extermination. Does that make you happy? Thank you, she said, bro. I mean, my lord Naruto. I really need to get used to saying that. You don't have to, said Naruto. Alright, bro, she said. Bro, tell me again why you want Minato Jr. in the kingdom. Well, he's father's child, and he also hates him as much as we do. Well, that is what we got from sorceress. Investigation. The bad thing is, he looks so much like father. I don't want him anywhere near me, said Naruko. I want to say the same thing, but I can't. His senses then flare. As Naruto narrowed his eyes. I have to go, he said. Alright, I'll talk to you later, bro. Yeah, said Naruto. As Naruto narrowed his eyes, looking at the pair of eyes that were looking back at him, with a raised eyebrow. Then it finally clicked in his mind. Ah, you must be Zetsu. I've heard a lot about you. The plant man stayed quiet for a couple of moments before he slid out of the wall completely, as he stood on the water. As Naruto gave him a quick once over, half of his face was black, half was white, with a phoenix fly trap over his head. And you must be the king of the Sky Kingdom. Apparently, I am, said Naruto with a shrug. It's hard not to be offended when I look at you, King Naruto, he said, as his voice warped from light to dark. Oh, and why is that, Naruto asked? Well, for one to be so young, to bend the heavens and destroy Earth, to command an army that will leap into the jaws of death if it please you. to push fear into the hearts of the most toughest humans. Well, I am what they pushed me to be, said Naruto. I guess you're right if your father had not scoffed and cast you and your sister away, and if your sister hadn't been killed. None of this would have happened. So why are you here, Zetsu? Why have you been following me? Ever since he came out of his vehicle, he had sensed a man. And why aren't you dead? You remember assigning Konan and Nagato to take care of him, but from what he remember, Zetsu was a slipper bastard. Zetsu bowed his head. I am here to formally request the axe to join your forces. Is that right? And what can you possibly do for me? That I don't have someone that can do it better than the axe. I'm a skilled scout. There is no space that I cannot fit through, and there is no information I cannot acquire. I have roughly 6,000 spies under my command that was able to acquire enough information to make me and my kingdom immune to grounder techniques. And this happened under your nose for the past several years. Being a spy does not means getting information when it is needed. You should always keep your ears and your eyes watching and listening. So try again. Why would I require your services? I have been in existence for over 500 years. I have knowledge, techniques, jutsus. Well, if that's the case, Zetsu was pulled off the ground roughly as he was brought to Naruto as he was stuck. I will just take your memory, said Naruto. Zetsu was about to say something, but Naruto closed his mouth. Our little talk is over. As he raised his hand, Soul Eater, he said. Meanwhile, at Konoha, Sakura chopped Minato Jr. in the back of his neck as she placed the unconscious boy on her shoulder. Suddenly, hers appearance and size started to ripple a bit. As silver armors appeared, there was a small whoosh as he looked up to see a retrieval vehicle appeared. The Sigma blimps were still in the village, as the vehicle used this to get in without being discovered. A large group of ninjas did not believe the video. They thought this was just a recording to make their fort look bad. But others were at the Kage's tower, but they were being repulsed by the other shinobis. As they want answers, they were angry. Hamato then came out of the vehicle as Sakura entered and placed and strapped Junior down on the seat. He was flown to Hot Water Country, a 4-minute flight, if they took their time. Meanwhile, Naruto was sitting in a makeshift tent and was ordering his troops to march to Earth Country. The next change of commands he gave was to invade Iron Country, as he gave them their orders and how best to sneak into Iron Country. Currently, there was 2 projections in front of his decks, and 50 spies were on the ground bowing. Do you all understand? Yes sir, they said. Good, Nagato, said Naruto, as Nagato was in his daily path. Since you're the most senior, I want you to give me regular reports, by the hour if you can. Of course, my lord. Permission to speak, my lord, said Fu, as Naruto waited for her to speak. Will you be visiting Iron Country anytime soon? There was low murmuring of people behind her who also wanted to ask questions. Yes, but only after we march on the Hidden Stone. You are to enter the Iron after we march on the Hidden Stone, understood? Yes, sir. Dismiss, he said, as Sabuku was still there, recording him. Video call, Mora, he said, as the man, the projection flicked into view, as he bowed. My lord Naruto, at ease, Naruto said. As Naruto groaned, he heard that his sister did something. What did my sister do, he said. She was given orders to secure the roof of the main communication building in the Line of Chill, but she let one of the shinobis get past her, and he was wearing a vest, but underneath was a bunch of paper tags. If the rescue soldiers weren't there, he would have went straight in the building and detonate with them inside. The rescue and support, they could detect danger before it happened, so they were able to stop the man. You have to be a good sensor to become a rescue and support, and they could also do things like freeze explosive tags, especially after they were activated. Naruto rubbed his face. Let us start with Bomber. What measures have you taken about him? First, I requested an interrogation to test the bomber, whether he acted on his own or his leader sent him. Then I had the soldiers destroy every means of communication outside the country. As Naruto remembered the order for all means of communication to be shut down. Then I ordered Silver Rank Naruko to read the Sakai Forces Procedure and Command Act. It was a standard procedure book every Sakai soldier had to be well versed in. The book had been written by the 10 soldier heads and been confirmed by Naruto to pass out. Inside was everything a soldier needed to know, as well as a punishment that would be given if they disobeyed their command or their order. Because of her hurriedness entering the Sakai forces, she quickly went over the book, so she was unable to fully be aware of everything. And there was a law that no soldier or anyone should be punished if they were unaware of all the laws and all the aspects of what they should do in the book. That was why it was taught in all 4 years of the academy, so they would know everything that was in the book. If the members served him well, the punishment that was given to a hunter ninja. If they were told to keep watch on a building with numerous other soldiers inside, and they messed up, it was 2-month suspension and a probation and dropped in rank temporarily until they reproved their rank. And she would be made to work in the filing and selection of the hunting ninja division. That's good, said Naruto. I try not to be lenient with her. By your orders, my lord. You did well. What other punishment will be given to her? Border patrol duty for a month, but that will be after the invasion. Very good, said Naruto. Tell her, I will speak to her later. Of course, my lord. With that, Naruto cut the connection. He could simply free her from any punishment, but she told him that she wanted the full experience, and she didn't want favors from him just because he was a king to get her out, because other ninjas wouldn't get the same treatment. Naruto got up as he made his way outside. He saw a dozen of his soldiers. They were laughing, and they were eating as they were sitting around fires. They were still in their armor, ready to defend if anyone attacked, as he saw the retrieval vehicles over to the side, as he made his way towards them, as the ranks all bow at him, as his personal maid followed behind him, still recording him, as he walked over to Hamato and nodded for the man to speak. The retrieval mission to Konoha was successful, Lord Naruto. Naruto looked at the two younger teens kneeling beside Hamato. Both of them had silver rank and their heads lowered. I can see that. At ease, he said. They got to their feet. How was your stay in Konoha? Mildly eventful, sir, said Sai. Sai, were you able to take care of the root ninjas? Naruto asked. Yes, sir, but I left Yamato Tenzo like you ordered. And Kakashi? He is currently occupied with keeping assassins from reaching the Fort Hokage, Sai said. I take it the video has split Konoha, said Naruto. As you predicted, sir, said Hamato. Sakura, said Naruto. Sir? Your last report said that Tsunade Senju has taken an interest in your training. Yes, sir, she has been giving me pointers on medical ninjutsu and combat training. Hopefully that hasn't ruined your personal training, Naruto said. Each Gronder spy was sent a training scroll. Sakura and Sai got theirs before they became Janins a year before. She nodded as Naruto looked past them back into the truck. He waved his hand as Sai and the others left. As Naruto looked at the boy, rage built inside of him because he looked so much like Minato. Junior saw the look as he lowered his head. His resemblance to his father has messed him up once again. He thought the first time meeting his brother, if he ever met his brother, would be something happy. Naruto grunted as he spoke. My first instinct is to crush you into non-existence. Junior stayed silent. But I won't, Naruto says, he breathed out. As Junior heard stepping inside the vehicle as Naruto sat down right beside him. As he turned his head to Junior, my spies reported that you hated father. As Junior snapped his head around, as he nodded. Will you be willing to kill those he loved? Naruto asks. But guys, be in subscribe right here for the next part of this or no do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn the bell notifications stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.